babes, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brandy. I am the host of the Be Real Babe show, and today, you guys, it is internet insanity, and I found 3 different topics for us to talk about today. One is a breaking one that is coming out of Texas. However, it's not breaking because allegedly bodies are found in this place quite a few times a year. So there's some rumors swirling that there is a serial killer out in Texas, but allegedly that is not true. This is something that happens quite often. So we're going to dive deeper into that. And then the next story, we're going to talk about a case that has been going on for a very, very long time. There is supposedly an update in the JonBenet Ramsey case. So we're going to go over that. And then finally, we're going to talk about a story of a woman who got arrested in Dubai for doing a little bit of snow, if you know what I'm saying, and was going to be put away for life in prison in Dubai. However, she's now released and her mom is speaking out about that experience. So 3 different stories, all different crime, all over the place as per usual, but they're all insane stories in their own little ways. So if you're interested in listening to those, stick around and we'll jump right in. Okay, babes, 3 stories. But before we get on to that, Happy New Year if you're watching this live. Crazy if you're listening to this live. Thank you so much. I'm definitely getting at the end of the season, end of the year, and the winter blues are hard, y'all. If you are in Canada, in the north at all, you get me, you feel me, you understand. We're at the dead of winter and we are starting to climb our way up. Thank goodness. Thankfully, the armpit of the year is upon us and going to be over soon, and then we can move on and get into spring and summer, which is where your girl shines. But I hope you guys had an amazing end of the year. I hope you guys had a great 2025 and are spending some time looking back and celebrating the wins and reviewing some of the maybe losses and see what the lessons were in life and what you're looking forward to for 2026. I know some people don't care about time and hate goals and stuff like this, but some people, it's the only thing keeping you going in the wintertime. You know what I'm saying? Sleep and goals and future looking for me anyways. But just wanted to say thank you guys so much for listening this year. If you don't know, in a couple weeks I'm going to be taking a break for probably about a month or 2 because I have a lot of revamping that I want to do on the YouTube channel as well as the podcast, and I have been doing this for 5 years straight now, and your girl's a little tired. So instead of just taking 1 month, which really turns into 1 or 2 weeks because I got to prep for the next season, I'm going to take an extended break, learn a little bit more, restructure everything, and come back. But in that meantime, I'm going to be uploading the podcast to this channel every couple of days. There's going to be a new episode of the podcast season 10 that was just aired on Apple, Rumble, and Spotify. So if you missed that, that is coming here. So don't worry, there's going to be content over the next couple months. It's just going to look a little different. It's going to be the podcast. And then I'm going to come back in a couple months, probably mid-April, beginning of April, roughly, and go back full-fledged with a whole new look. So super excited for that. Thank you guys for being so patient. But yeah, need some time to take time to learn. And I feel like I just spend all the time preparing for the next season. I don't get to learn any new skills or take some time to breathe. So we're going to take some time to breathe. And I'm very much looking forward to that. But that is not today. We still have some stories to talk about. So let's go over them. So starting with the JonBenet Ramsey case. Now, when I first reported on this case, I was dead set that it wasn't anybody in the family because as far as I knew, everyone in the family was exonerated. But then, of course, as one does, we fall down a little bit more rabbit holes and our algorithm changes a little bit. And we see something else. And I frequently watch a channel called Deception Detective, and he does a good job at, he's an analysis lawyer, something around that, like behavioral analysis or something to do with, he's a type of lawyer and he studies behavior and he shows where people are deceptive, and he frequently talks about missing children and those kind of cases, as well as he's talked about cases like this with parents of murdered children and stuff like that and their behavior. And he very much believes, this is what he believes, I don't know, I have no real opinion in this one right now because I'm so lost and confused. He believes that the parents either know who did it or they did it for sure. That's just what I'd say you go watch him, don't take my word. But I never thought that until I started watching his videos, and then I started looking at it from a different point of view. Knowing that happens, and I'm still out, I have no idea. I really hope that we get some answers here, but let's go over this article. But I don't know, I just find it interesting when you think, oh, everyone probably feels this way, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of people don't. You're like, wow, was I just in my own echo chamber there, or was what happened there? So just very much going to be more open in 2026 to understand that I might be more of an echo chamber than I think I am. But let's read this article that came out of December 29th, 2025. JonBenet Ramsey's father calls new evidence in case encouraging. Nearly 30 years after 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey was found dead in Boulder, Colorado, an annual report from police says new evidence is being considered in the case. Ramsey, a child beauty Queen, born in Atlanta, was reported missing from her Boulder home on December 26, 1996, and was later found strangled to death. No one has been charged with her death. Her death has been the subject of intense speculation and decades of documentaries, true crime podcasts, and conspiracy theories, leading investigators to provide annual updates on her case. This year, our detectives have conducted several new interviews as well as re-interviewed individuals based on tips we've received. We have also collected new evidence and tested and retested other pieces of evidence to generate leads, Boulder Police Chief Stephen Redfern said December 12th. The chief said the case has renewed hope for a resolution as technology continues to advance, particularly as it relates to DNA testing. Police did not outline what the new evidence includes and who has been interviewed or re-interviewed for the case. It is never too late for people with knowledge of the terrible crime to come forward, and I urge those responsible for this murder to contact us. Boulder Police said anyone with information should contact them. Speaking on News Nation Banfield, John Ramsey said he was optimistic the new details would help lead to identify his daughter's killer. It's encouraging, he told the outlet. The key really in progress has been the addition of the new leadership. It was not very good over the last 25 to 26 years, and now hiring Chief Stephen Redfern from the outside, I've met with him 3 or 4 times. I'm impressed with him. I think he's sincere and honest. Ramsey also hopes the agency will partner with Othram Labs, an investigative genetic analyst company that recently aided the Brian Kohberger investigation in Idaho. Ramsey said Kohberger pleaded guilty to a series of murders at the University of Idaho. Ramsey also noted that the police department had not shared who had been re-interviewed or what new evidence was being considered. Police responded to Ramsey's home the day after Christmas 1996 when JonBenét's mother, Patsy, told officers they found a note saying her daughter was kidnapped. The letter asked for $118,000 and told the Ramseys not to call police. So just pausing for a second, just some of the online speculation here. I just want to add a little bit that I've just seen, not that I have said, and I'm sure some of these could be debunked. Maybe we don't know. Don't want to necessarily speak on a woman who has passed, however, because this isn't solved. Everything is still obviously up and open. But allegedly, from what I heard, is that $118,000 was apparently the exact bonus that he was supposed to get. So people found that a little bit odd that the kidnapper had asked for that. They also found it odd that in the ransom note, allegedly, it had said that if you call the police, like, we're going to kill her, and then they got the police right away. They didn't tell them to like wear different clothes or act like family or anything like that, right? They never did that. So, and then I guess one of the theories was alleging, like, if that was you and you had done that, and then all of a sudden you found your daughter dead, wouldn't you kind of be upset and like verbally say like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, you know what I mean? Like something like that. Maybe not. And maybe just because we didn't read about it, that wasn't said, right? This is all speculation. And then a lot of the times what I've read too, people saying that, just because someone's super involved doesn't mean that they're not guilty, because sometimes people that are guilty want to be very close to the case so they know what's going on. Again, I'm just saying these are the back and forth that I've seen a few times. I've also found people say that it just seemed a little bit too clean for a break-in and for somebody to be doing something like this because there wasn't footprints. There's just things that were missing. And then that day, allegedly, a lot of people have said this throughout, is that the police, were not very well equipped to do stuff like this because that didn't really happen there. So, I mean, with all those combined, but there's so much lore back and forth now that when I cracked it open and seen that people were thinking maybe someone in the family had done something, I didn't realize there was a bunch of lore and Reddit threads there. And again, it's Reddit, so taking it with a grain of salt, but because it's not solved yet, it's kind of hard not to speculate, right? Later that day, a larger search led to the discovery of JonBenét's body in the basement spare room of Ramsey's home. She had duct tape on her mouth and neck. Her cause of death was determined as asphyxiation from strangulation. JonBenét's death was ruled a homicide according to police records. 3 days later, the girl's body was flown to Atlanta and she was buried in St. James Episcopal Cemetery in Marietta, Georgia, with her older half-sister who died in a car accident in 1992. Investigators said later that they believed the ransom note had been written inside the house. A handwriting test eliminated Father John Ramsey as the writer, but did not clear Patsy. JonBenét's parents remained suspects. The family moved back to Atlanta, and JonBenét's older brother, Burke, who was 9 at the time of her death, was questioned by authorities. The following decades were rattled by detectives quitting the case, grand jury investigations and indictments, DNA evidence going nowhere, and teachers' confessions that were later proven false. In the days after the killing, police regularly spoke to the rumors about the Ramsey family, saying they were cooperating with investigators. The department assured residents that her death appeared to be an isolated incident and no other children were in danger. There have been many stories and much speculation about who killed JonBenét, and this area I know will be explored in great detail and questions to follow. Let me offer a perspective on this issue. Prejudging and media hype have never solved a crime. Crime solving requires diligent and careful police work, and that is exactly what the Boulder Police Department is committed of doing. This was back in 1997. Oh. The Ramseys have filed numerous lawsuits against TV networks and documentary crews for their coverage of JonBenét's case, many of them painting the Ramseys as liars and responsible for her death. And please do not sue me. I have no money. I'm not saying I think that you did that or you didn't do that. I just think things are weird. And I think a lot of things are weird when cases aren't solved, right? Because you're like, well, what else could it be? And I think there's so many conspiracies. Like I've heard conspiracies from JonBenét Ramsey is Katy Perry. I've heard that she was sold through the Epstein network kind of that way, because her parents were, in that scene around the Hollywood area, knew people like that. Allegedly, I have no idea. Like I said, for me, this whole time when I was watching it, from where my standpoint is, because I want to believe people are good, and my mistake is that how could a father or like anybody in the family do that? And if the father had something to do with it or knew, like why would he go so hard in these documentaries and like continually bring it to the forefront and bring it to light, right? You'd think that once things died down, if he had something to do with it, he wouldn't want to keep bringing it up. You know what I mean? But maybe I'm wrong. Again, I have no idea. For me, sometimes it's hard to go back and forth because I don't know. So, either one could be true. I'm not sure, but you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, next story is obviously, like I said, something breaking that's coming out of Texas here. As I read this article, I actually started thinking, like, how common is this? So we're going to read the article of what's happening now and then look back historically to see, is this alarming? I think it's just alarming for me because bodies of water and dead bodies is something that is out of nightmares for me. So this really just blew my mind a little bit, but I also understand this because I live by a lot of water and I know there's a lot of bodies in them. Unfortunately, it's just a fact of life and it freaks me the fuck out, just period. After 3 bodies are recovered from Houston bayous, officials dispute serial killer rumors. So this is coming out December 30th, 2025. Houston's top prosecutor is disputing online rumors that a serial killer is to blame for bodies that have washed ashore in the city's waterways in recent weeks. Just last week, 3 bodies were recovered near Houston area's bayou, according to Houston Police Department. In an interview with NBC affiliate KPRC on Monday, Harris County District Attorney Sean Tier shot down speculation that the 3 bodies were connected to a larger crime scene. There is nothing, and I want to be crystal clear, to indicate there is someone operating here as a serial killer, he told the outlet. There are many reasons for these deaths. None of them are a serial killer. On December 22nd, a body was recovered from the Buffalo Bayou in downtown Houston, and another was recovered from the Brays Bayou in a Pine Valley neighborhood, a police spokesperson confirmed in a phone call. A body was also found in the Buffalo Bayou near the Rice Military Neighborhood on December 24th, according to the police. The spokesperson said that all 3 autopsies report remain pending. When asked for further comment, the spokesperson referred NBC News to a press conference Houston Mayor John Whitmire and Police Chief Noah Diaz held in October. Both men also shot down speculation that another slew of recovered bodies was connected. There is no evidence that there's a serial killer on the loose in the streets of Houston, Texas. Whitmire said, if there was, you would hear it from me first. Mary Benton, a spokesperson for the mayor's office, said in a statement that the mayor believes 1 body is too many. And so I guess for me, because again, obviously we have bodies around us and obviously accidents happen, and especially in the summertime, people are boating on the water more and all that kind of stuff. So I get it. Like I totally understand that happens, but it's still jarring, right? And I'm sure for me on the outside, just like, oh my gosh, this sounds like so many, like 3 in a couple days. Like there's got to be something sus. I understand where people are coming from that. But in the following article I'll share after, And please correct me if I'm wrong. This is just what I'm reading. It seems like this is almost kind of common. The city extends its condolences to the families whose loved ones were found in the bayou, she said. Houston police are doing their part to patrol around bayous, but the city has more than 2,500 miles of waterways and bayous. The 3 bodies recovered were among the more than 30 in the city's waterways in 2025. Terror, the Harris County DA, attributed many of the deaths to the city's massive homeless problem, mental health, and substance abuse issues. It's kind of a little known fact, but when you get into the bayous, it's very difficult to get out. When you combine that with someone that is high on substances, someone that is intoxicated somehow, it makes it even more difficult. Terr acknowledged that individual crimes do occur, but again reiterated that the recovered bodies are not a part of a wide conspiracy. Yes, there are times where we recover bodies that were placed in the bayou criminally, no question, but that's not something that is happening on a regular occurrence. Local officials have disputed online rumors in recent years that bodies found in City Lady Bird Lake are somehow connected to one another. So, I mean, I guess my question is if a lot of these murders aren't solved yet, and these bodies that are being recovered are obviously going to be super fucked up because they're in the water, right? For God knows how long. How I know not all of them, and I know you're probably doing it to make people feel safe, but until they're solved, I think people would kind of question. So again, this was jarring to me. I'm like, holy fuck, this actually happens. So I went to look and see like how often, like how many bodies are they finding in bayous on average every year. So then I found this article that was published December 17th. Houston Bayou deaths have risen during the last decade. Country Medical Examiner reports show. More than 200 dead bodies have been found in local bayous since 2017, according to the report. The last 2 years accounted for the highest numbers for bayou-related deaths during that span. 31 dead bodies have been pulled from a bayou this year in Harris County, according to a news report from County Medical's Examiner Office, just like we talked about. That is fewer than in 2024, but still significantly higher than several years before. The Harris County Institute of Forensic Science recently shared that the report on its website with data through December 10th. Much of the information had been previously reported by Houston public media, but the new data gives a bird's eye view to the county reporting on the Houston area bayou deaths, including an upward trend in recent years. So far this year, 31 bodies have been found, with the most recent incident October 8th. 6 bodies were discovered during a 11-day period. So this was since October 8th. So obviously the couple more that have been added, it's up to 35 now. In 2024, 35 bodies were found, a peak during the 9 years included in the report, which shows more than 200 bodies have been pulled from Houston area bayous since 2017. And not to freak everybody out, but that's the ones that they've found and come to the surface. Right? So it's like, that's why I struggle sometimes with being in water, y'all. I love it, but in 2017, 20 bodies were found in bayous. 27 were found in 2020, and the highest number until 2024. The highest number until 2024. During the other years cited in the report, between 12 and 22 bodies were pulled from local bayous. Autopsy reports are broken down by cause of death and manner of death. The former looks into exactly what caused the individual's death, and the latter looks into the circumstances that led to their death. 15 out of 31 bodies found in bayous this year have an undetermined cause of death, according to the medical examiner's office, while 18 have undetermined manner of death. Maybe that's what people are feeling a little sus about, you know? I mean, maybe it's wrong, but well. In bayou-related deaths, the bodies often have extensive decompositional changes due to weather, temperature, submersion in water, and marine animal activity, the report reads. This affects the ability to interpret findings at autopsy and might also interfere with toxicology results. This will usually lead to an undetermined manner of death. In addition, it might be unclear as to how the person ended up in the bayou. If they fell in, if they entered to go for a swim. In cases this year that has caused death listed, 8 involved drowning, 2 were ruled suicide by gunshot wound to the head. 1 case in May was determined to be a homicide as a result of multiple blunt impact injuries. That's so scary. So just, yeah, I mean, do you swim in bayous? Like, is that normal? I don't know. I'm not trying to like be rude about it. we swim in lakes that for sure have had dead bodies recovered and have a lot in them. So I completely understand. It just freaks me out. Am I alone in that? I don't know. But really sorry to everyone that has lost their lives, and hopefully finding bodies of people and having them identified if possible will at least help some families close some sad moments in their lives, or maybe answer some questions, especially if you're missing people and they're found. I know a lot of people obviously want the best answer, but an answer is better than no answer from what I've heard. That's just from what I read. So prayers out to to all the families that are affected. I'm so sorry this is happening. I think a big pull away is probably don't swim in bayous or go near them. But also just know sometimes too, and I get very caught up on this, like it's sometimes easy to get caught in the conspiracies, and yeah, it makes sense. There must be a serial killer. However, if the year before had more, and this is definitely a cause for concern, we should figuring out why this is happening without a doubt. But if it's more, like they said, homelessness problem, substance abuse problem, and it's spiked the last couple of years, we definitely need to look at the issues. But it's not necessarily that it's a serial killer that everybody in the world everyone in that area at least is at risk. So going to the last story here, mom of woman 24 jailed for life in Dubai after making very stupid mistakes, give an update following her release. So, the mother of a British student who was jailed for life on crimes in Dubai has provided an update after her daughter was pardoned earlier this month. Mia O'Brien was behind bars in Dubai's central prison after what her mom, Danielle McKenna, called a stupid mistake in 2024. I haven't seen my daughter since the last October. Mia is only 23 years old and has never done a bad thing in her life, a GoFundMe page explained. This is a young girl who went to university to do law and unfortunately got mixed up in the wrong so-called friends, made a very stupid mistake, is now paying the price. Mia received a life sentence earlier this year after she was found with 50 grams of cocaine. A life sentence in the UAE usually results in 15 to 25 years behind bars, followed by deportation on top of a $135,000 fine. Mia was arrested in October 2024 while she was at a flat party in the city and had tested positive for cocaine. In court, she pleaded guilty but said that she had only snorted a line of the Class A drug. She just made a stupid mistake after going over to see a friend and her boyfriend in Dubai, Danielle told the Daily Mail. She was crying on the phone and said, "Oh, Mom, please forgive me. I definitely don't think she was going back to sell drugs or bring them back. It's a lot of drugs, but there are others involved, and she was just kind of caught in the middle of it." Mia had planned to appeal her conviction that she hoped would allow her to serve the rest of her sentence closer to home. Her family have continued to appeal for Mia's release until it was revealed earlier this month that she had received a pardon. Mia made it back to British soil for Christmas, and Daniela is unsurprisingly delighted. The mother posted a video montage of Mia on Christmas morning, adding that she's home and saying home is where she belongs. Danielle then posted in the comments, "It's like Christmas miracle, best Christmas ever." After learning her daughter would be freed, the mother took to Facebook to express her shock but also delight. In a December 3rd social media post, Danielle wrote, "Thank you so much, everyone. I'm still in a bit of a shock and buzzing and can't wait to give her the tightest cuddle ever. She's coming home. She's coming home. My baby's coming home." It remains unclear at the time how and why Mia was released. Speaking to The Sun, a UAE-based legal expert stated, "They did not specify a reason for her release, and such things are not made public. But keeping a young Brit in jail for 25 years would have been bad PR for Dubai, so I believe that would be why they decided to let her free." That's crazy. So she was obviously in there for a decent amount of time. Imagine, like, I've never done it before. I'm just a huge advocate of not doing drugs in countries where things are illegal. I don't know what's legal anywhere, but I'm assuming this is not legal there, and I just don't think it's legal anywhere actually. But probably don't do that. I wasn't even going to be smoking weed in Hawaii because I was so scared, because I just think whatever drug you're doing, you can probably wait for the time. If it's legal somewhere, do not risk going to prison. And for the rest of your life at 23, just for doing a line of cocaine, could you imagine? And obviously that must have taken some time away from her life. And I really hope that, she can heal from this. But like her mom said, it was a really stupid mistake. Everyone all over the place with this. Sometimes you just make a stupid mistake. Sometimes you're ignorant and all of a sudden you get caught. And I'm not saying she did either or, but I think this is just a call to say, hey, just make sure wherever you go, check and see what drugs are illegal, and make sure you know what's what. And if you're going to be doing anything with anybody, try to keep it public. I know that sounds crazy, but most of the time that's when bad shit happens. But anyways, you guys, like I said, I hope you're having an amazing end of your new year for watching this when it launches live on Wednesdays. And don't forget, on Mondays, we keep up with Canada. So there is 18 weeks past of keeping up with Canada. You can go back and watch. And Wednesdays, same thing, Internet Insanity on Wednesdays. And then the podcast is on Apple, Spotify, Rumble. So you can go over there and listen, or you can wait for another couple weeks and all of those will be uploaded in sequence through the next couple months as I break from YouTube to reset, readjust, and sleep a little bit. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. Again, Happy New Year's, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time, bye.